What's going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new deck profile video. I'll bring you guys a very, very special deck profile. Yesterday, I went to Millennium Games in Rochester and participated in their YCS Niagara VIP Qualifier tournament. If you don't know what a VIP tournament is, basically they happen before YCSs, and if you win the tournament at the next following YCS, which in this case is YCS Niagara Falls, you get the first 2 rounds free as buys, basically, and your day doesn't start till round 3, which is kind of nice. Starts you off with a nice 2-0 record, and I'm super proud of myself for securing the dub. And what deck did I play? I played the Rikka Sunavalon strategy. A couple shout-outs before we get into the video. Shout-outs to Aerosol TCG. Not only did he help me learn how to play this deck, he also showed me, the deck in the first place a couple months back when I had no idea this deck was going to be a thing post Power of the Elements. And he also helped me build the deck. We've, passed a lot of ideas back and forth, so huge shout-outs to him. The absolute GOAT. Shout-outs to my friend Kaz, who also helped me build this list here, this exact list that I played yesterday. And shout-outs to everybody from Buffalo, part of the game. Yeah, everybody that went there, and everybody at OTS at Joe's. Shout-outs to them. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get into the profile. Also, quick reminder, this playmat here, if you guys are interested in picking it up, check it out at Imperium Duelist. I think there's still some available. Yeah, use my discount code WinterKills10 off, and don't forget to use my affiliate link to ZC Player as well. So, getting into the list here, we have 2 copies of Loki and 1 twin. Didn't want to max out on the Loki since we already play Unexpected Die, and I'm also playing Prosperity, unlike a lot of other lists. So this is a card that you don't always want to see in your opening hand. Like, if you see it, it's fine, but I was really afraid of drawing like multiple normal summons because those felt like the weakest hands, especially going second, even going first. Like, you just rather have more extenders. Then the twin obviously is like the engine requirement for your normal combo. It's fine to draw this if you see Unexpected Die. So yeah, those are pretty standard. Then we have 3 copies of Unexpected Die. This was basically the best card in the entire deck. This card resolves to bring out the Seed. I think just Unexpected Die alone is like 4 interruptions or something like that. This card's absolutely bonkers. Insane card. Definitely a mandatory 3 of. And then like the last part of like the Sunvine, Sun Avalon engine is 1 Sowing. This card you could argue is like kind of a brick 2, but it's really not. If you open up like any level 4 plant in this, you can just normal it, make Dryas, activate this, summon out a Seed, and then you'll take the damage. Dryas will gain the life points back, and then you get to summon out a Thrasher, and then you can go into Jasmine or Dance Peon and keep making plays. Now onto the Rikka part of the deck. We have 2 copies of Petal. This card's crazy. I think this card probably could be played at 1. The only reason I didn't want to play it at 1 is because of DD Crow, and this card really helps you in the grind game like immensely. The fact that it keeps coming back every end phase. Absolute MVP, like gives you a lot of gas going to the next turn. Helps you beat Winda too, because like you summon on their turn one time, and then you get to search Mudan, and then Mudan can distribute over the Winda if you have the field spell up. And you get Glamour and keep playing. But yeah, if DD Crow wasn't so heavily in the format, I would probably just play 1, but I think 2 is perfect. 2 Princess. This card is absolutely bonkers. One of the new support cards from Power of the Elements is basically a monster negate while you control Rikka, and it tributes a plant and shuffles itself into the deck as cost, which is insane. So they have to preemptively crow it or preemptively called by it. They can't act reactively to this card because they just don't get an opportunity to hit it with things like Crow or Bell. Or even Call by the Grave, which is really nice. And you can also just tribute their monsters and negate things too. It's also just an insane extender. Just summon it, just because. Literally no restrictions on it. Just summon it while it's on the board. It's like a guard dragon. You can only summon plants. 2 Mudan. This is a card maybe sometime I bump to 3, but for now I think it's fine. It's just Earth Machine monster. You special summon it by tributing a plant, and then when it's special summoned by the effect of a plant, you get to search a Rikka spell or trap. So searches your field spell, searches Glamour, searches Sheet, etc., etc. 1 Snowdrop. I was testing this card at 2 for a little while, and I think I might try it at 2 again. Had really no complaints about 1 though. The only other thing maybe want it for is the grind game when you go through it and you're You need like a good high impactful card to search to like get into a rank 8 or something to like clear cards. The level manipulation on this card is really strong. Tributing over opponent's stuff with this feels really strong. Just get an extra body on field, especially bringing out like Lone Fire a second time, then using Lone Fire again. Yeah, I've also thought about playing a second level 8 in this deck too. Another level 8 plant that maybe can be summoned off of Lone Fire that can also be grabbed off of this. That's not Therion Lilyborea, because I don't think the Therion stuff in here is very good. Just because it conflicts with too many things, and half the time you don't even get to summon Regulus based on how you started your combo. But yeah, just being able to like search for 2 8s off Glamour by getting a tribute is like feels really strong, because sometimes like I didn't play a Mystic Mine out, and the reason I didn't is because Glamour and Sheet are Mystic Mine outs, but like sometimes it's scary because if you don't have 2 4s in deck, you can't resolve Glamour by tributing something, especially if you've gone through your Sunavalon engine and you're like out of petals, or you only have like 1 petal in deck and no seeds. And then the last Rikka monster is 1 Primula. This is like an engine requirement, kind of. If a plant monster is tributed, you get to special summon it. It has a cool level manipulation effect by like it can up something by 2 levels, like or up to 2 things by 2 levels, so you can get into like Kanzashi easier. But yeah, would never play more than one of this card. Drawing it's not that great. You always want to get it off Glamour. There are other level 4s too that you'd rather search. And now into the rest of the Rikka spells here. We have 3 copies of Glamour. This card is insane. Just adds a plant, but you can also tribute a plant as well for the activation requirement. If you just don't tribute a plant, you just search a Rikka. If you do tribute a plant on activation, you get to search a plant plus another plant that is the same level as the Rikka that you added. So like nothing feels better than just like tributing their Baron, tributing their Winda, and then searching 2 plants. Also, important ruling thing. If you tribute an opponent's monster with this to grab this, this will not trigger because this says a plant monster you control is tributed. So don't cheat. I wish you could do that, but unfortunately you cannot. 2 Con. Insane card. I think there was only... I actually don't even think there was one time during the VIP that I wish I had a 3rd one. I think in testing it came up one time where the 3rd one was like would have been very nice, but I don't think it ultimately mattered so much. Sets your Rikka spells and traps. It's like Layer of Darkness. This is what makes the deck like really, really competitive right now. You don't like absolutely always need it, just because like Sheet is still insane. Like a lot of your engine is just insane enough as is. Like this is just kind of like the icing on the top, being able to tribute their stuff. Then we played 1 Sheet as the last Rikka card. I low-key wish I was playing a second one of these. Maybe not a second Sheet, because drawing 2 of them seems really bad. If anything, I thought about maybe playing a copy of Tranquility as well, kind of helpful in the grind game, and just gives you like more versatility to grab things off of this or move on late game, because this deck likes to grind. Like this deck grinds a lot, and it grinds very, very well. Now to our auxiliary plant monsters. There's only 2: 1 World Carrotway Champion and 1 Lone Fire. Lone Fire overperformed. Incredible card to be able to search mid combo. You summon it off of Jasmine, and then Jasmine tributes something, or this tributes something else and summons Petal. And then you get 2 monsters on field with levels to like possibly make a Dance Peon play if you need to. If you can't get to a Glamour for 4, or Glamour for 2 for like level 4s, you can possibly make a play there with Dance Peon. And you can also just use it multiple times in a turn to summon things out of deck. Like get a second Princess Engraved. So if they get rid of 1, if you use 1 on your turn, you have 1 on their turn, or vice versa. And then World Carrotway Champion. This is a card I see a lot of people actually not playing. I think this card is super, super important, because if you don't play this card, just having Primula and Snow Princess in deck is like not enough to be able to like effectively resolve Glamour for like 2 cards most of the time. And this card is also just an insane extender and helps you OTK a lot easier. Like a lot of times I would have like Petal come back, Petal would search me a card, this would be Engrave, and then I would just send the Petal off to summon this, and it's almost an extra 2k body at 1900 there, and like help you just make games so much easier. In fact, my round 1 opponent, granted he was new to the game, but like it's just like bread and butter easy OTK with this card. And again, it's just level 4, which is really strong. Then into some of the spells here, we have 3 Pot of Prosperity. Another card I see a lot of people not playing in this deck too. Yeah, you could like potentially like with the Sunavalon engine, like how big it is and like how many cards you use in the combo. It can seem a little intimidating to like banish cards with this, but like you don't need to like banish your crucial parts of the engine. Like you can banish like Melius, like the healer, and like the second Dryas, or you can banish like other cards like a Kanzashi or the 3rd Strenna. and just reveal 3. Because most of the times, like, that's all you really need to reveal 3. Like, if you're already playable, you just reveal 3. And then sometimes you can definitely afford to go for 6. Like, if your Sunavalon line got hand trapped really badly, you can just get rid of the rest of the cards in there, and it's basically just free to keep digging for cards. Really, really strong card, especially when you need to find, like, Unexpected Die or Dark Ruler. Then we have 1 Call By, and 1 Triple Tactics Talent. Shout out to my friend Adam for telling me to play this. This is like a free slot. It could be anything. Card is like kind of... I actually don't think I resolved this at the tournament, but in testing it was kind of nice, just as a 1-of. And then Call By is just Call By. Probably should be banned. And then into our defensive cards / going second cards, we have 3 Ash, Standard, 3 Crow, and 3 Imperm. And then we have 3 Dark Ruler No More. So, yeah, the whole goal of the deck was just to basically activate Dark Ruler, then activate that card. That was like literally the entire goal of the deck, and why we played Prosperity as well. Just dig for those cards and win for free. This felt like the weakest hand trap in the entire deck. All of these were really strong. This card I really hate right now, because like against a lot of decks like Sprite and Tier Element, this card literally does nothing. You can hand trap them like 3 times and they're still doing things. It's actually crazy. I thought about like maybe going forward this being Ultimate Slay, because like there's a lot of problematic cards in the format that are like Xyz and Lynx, like Appaloosa, Elf, Zeus, and Toad. Very prominent, very problematic cards, and this deck plays Xyz and Lynx exclusively. So like maybe there's some room for that. And yeah, that is the entire main deck, 40 cards. Onto the extra deck real quick. We'll go for 3 Strenna here. 3 I think is definitely mandatory. I've seen a lot of lists play 2. I think 3 is definitely mandatory. Like for the grind game, this card is so incredibly clutch. You pretty much always make 2 in the first combo, and the third you're either using for Prosperity or you're needing for like the next turn for follow-up plays. 1 Kanzashi. This card's insane. So you just like so good in the Tier Element matchup, just stealing things. Like there's a lot of ways you can like sequence things with this card where like you'll negate something and by attributing something, and then it'll like trigger, they'll like be resolving like effect to like dump a fusion or dump a name to the grave to fusion, and then a new chain, this will trigger since something was attributed, and you just take whatever they sent, and then they don't get diffusion summon. That actually happened in my 5th round against Tier Element, or my 4th round against Tier Element. Really, really clutch card. Teardrop, this card is like the worst card in the extra against Tier, but it's really good against like Sprite because you just keep the level 2s off the field and helps you push for game. Elsa went for this card a lot. This card is hilarious because you just like call Jerry Beans Man or Slifer, and then you rip a card off the top of the deck, and then you take like any one of their cards they have and you just stack it to the top of their deck, and then it's just like messing up their draw. So when you get into like a really simplified game state, they're just never top decking anything good. And I did this to my round 3 opponent, and it was just like I kept stacking like a crime to the top of his deck, and he just like couldn't play. It was funny. Really, really strong card Elsa is. And then the last Xyz is the Sacred Tributes High Puritan. This card would be so much better if it can negate in your turn. A lot of times I would go for this turn 1. Other times I would make Kanzashi and Strenna and then make this on their turn to get like the most value out of it and like kind of play around Nib a little bit more. And then the Sunavalon package is pretty standard. 2 Dryas, 1 Thrasher, and 1 Healer. I opted not to go for the 2 Healer. Because like I feel like the 1 Healer is like enough, and the 2nd Healer, like using the Healer early, like kind of plays into Ogre a little bit too much. Yes, you can like use Sowing to protect, but I feel like that's kind of a waste. Like if I'm necessarily playing into Ghost Ogre, because Ghost Ogre I feel like is semi-popular right now. Like it's definitely like a hand trap I could see people maining, even though it's not that good against Tier. I like Thrasher though for the utility, being able to like sometimes in the battle phase you can like crash this into something in defense position, and then you'll take damage. This comes out, you can make this 1600 and then attack over something else. Like, just a little bit more utility than Healer does. And then, yeah, you're using Healer, obviously, to gain life points for Jasmine to trigger the search. Speaking of Jasmine, there's the 1 Jasmine and the 1 Dance Peon. This card I'm probably using incorrectly sometimes, because, like, I feel like I just go for it, like, when I have no other lines and just mill 3 and see if I hit anything, which sometimes you definitely do. It's, like, kind of a sacky card in that aspect, but, like, there's some cool things you can do mid-combo, like by manipulating levels of whatever it points to if you have a level 4 engrave. So I'd definitely play this card again. Jasmine is just a no-brainer. And then we play 1 Mel and the 1 Benji. Bengal Answer. Insane card. Forgot to summon it back like 1 time, I think, at the end of the combo, but it's just follow-up at that point. Tokens. field centers, etc. Side deck, pretty self-explanatory here. We have 3 copies of Gamma and then 1 driver. Really good for Sprite. Really good for like any other combo matchup, anything that really isn't tier limit if you're going second. 1 Pank and 1 Cactus Bouncer. I got this guy in the field 1 time, but my opponent had Sphere Mode the next turn. It was nice though because he had to tribute this off, so he couldn't like get rid of other things that I had. I don't know if I'd play Cactus Bouncer again, but really, really strong card if you can pull it off. Then we play 3 Cosmic Cyclone and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. Just back row hates. Didn't really want to play like Twin Twister. I always found like that the Cosmics were really, really strong going into like Sprite boards sometimes, or even into tier boards. This helps you beat Anti-Spell too because it's a quick play. This is just a blowout against some decks. It's like Duster, you got to play the Duster. But like going into like the tier limit matchup, this is like crucial because it hits their meta noise, which if they book your seed, like sometimes you're just out of luck. So you need to have this. It hits like Solix. It hits their field spell. Hits the crimes. Really, really good card to have. I'm glad I played it. And then we have 3 Appointer, the Red Lotus, and 2 Solemn Judgment. Shoutouts to Adam for letting me borrow these. Card is insane going first. Round 2 I played against my friend Adam because we got paired up. Game 2 I think it was. No, Game 3 I think it was. I went first, did full combo, Prosperity for 3, revealed 2 of these and a called by. And that literally just sealed it. Draw a face, pay 2,000, look at their hand, and rip their best card out. And then round 4, I did the same thing to my opponent where he had Sphere Mode Dark Ruler, and I hit the Sphere Mode out of his hand. He Dark Rulered me, but it didn't matter because I still had like Sheet in the back line, still had Princess in the back or in the grave, and I still had Strenna. And Judgment, I feel like this might be Polynosis in the future, just because like if you're already paying 2,000 for this, like dropping yourself down to 3K is like really scary because they can OTK you pretty easily. And it also plays into the tribute gimmick, whereas like this doesn't. So Polynosis might come in. Matchups really quick. Matchups were round 1. It was against Invoke Shadal, which I think was one of our friends that's like newer to the game, like really, really new. Like he didn't start touching Yu-Gi-Oh cards like a week ago. So won that 2-0 obviously. Then round 2 I played against my friend Adam. He was playing Tier Lament. Won that 2-1. That's where I kind of sacked him game 3 with the Pot of Prosperity with a double Appointer called by. Round 3 I played against Tier Limit again, won that 2-0. Round 4 played against Tier Limit again, won that 2-1. That was probably like the scarier matchup. I ended up winning that in time because my opponent went first. He in game 3 went first, started with Field Spell, went Rhino Heart send. I called by or crowed whatever he sent. I think it was a Merly. Usually when they start Field Spell for Rhino Heart dump, like at that point if you crow them, I feel like they're pretty vulnerable. And he wasn't. He just set 2 and pass. One of them was a Meta Noise, and one of them was a Skill Drain. I normaled Seed, and I linked into Dryas, and he Skill Drained me. And then, or no, I didn't normal summon Seed. I unexpected died into Seed, went into Dryas. He Skill Drained me. I set Primula and passed. There was like 50 seconds left on the clock, so he's already down 1,000. And then from there, I also had a sheet too that I hard drew. And the sheet was insane because like, he normal summoned a Skomata, and I took his Rhino Heart with the sheet by attributing my Dryas, and that way you couldn't make a rank 4 and like establish like a fusion play in the graveyard for like a Winda. And then he had to Meta Noise his Rhino Heart on my field, and he dumped a name to try to fuse, but like he could make a window, but I had 2 set monsters that he couldn't do anything about, and he had no way to get to damage, and ended up winning in time. And then round 5 I played against my man Johnny. He was on pure Punk. I won that one 2-0. And game 1 I ashed his Xiamen, and he passed, and I just had game on the following turn basically. And then game 2 he made Zombie Vampire, and I milled Gamma, Petal, Princess, and something else. And like the Petal coming back in the end phase was just insane. I had Dark Ruler, I had Pankratops for his end board of like the Punk Trap, Hulk, and Baron. Was able to pretty much seal it there. He had to nib me pretty late in the combo, but it just like it wasn't enough for him. So ended up winning there. And yeah, that's pretty much everything. Really excited to go to Niagara now. Really, really excited. The list is probably going to change quite a bit between now and then. If I decide to play this deck, which is, I might that, or Marincess. But yeah, that's going to do it for this deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching, and shout out to everybody that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And as always, Winterkill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And like always, a huge thank you goes to our Divine Level channel members who are Tweeter0226, Pony Start, Cadillacs84, Justin Lamb, HCH Cyber, and Mango. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind and generous support of this channel.